Let's dive into the complicated dynamics surrounding the Nickelodeon All-Star Brawl (NASB) community, particularly the rhetoric that has become increasingly pervasive. A common phrase echoing through the community is "It's too early for NASB 3, just let these devs cook." This slogan, which has become a kind of mantra, is often repeated by fans and content creators alike. But what's really going on here? Why do people latch onto such phrases, and what psychological forces are at play when a community rallies around them, often to the detriment of critical thinking and honest discourse? The power of slogans and groupthink. First, it's important to understand the role that slogans play in shaping community behavior. Slogans are powerful because they simplify complex issues into easily digestible statements. "It's too early for NASB 3, just let these devs cook" condenses a broad range of discussions about game development, timing, and expectations into a single, catchy phrase. This is especially effective in online communities, where attention spans are short, and nuance is often lost in the noise. When such a slogan is repeated enough, it can lead to what's known as groupthink, a psychological phenomenon where the desire for harmony and conformity in a group results in irrational or dysfunctional decision-making. In the context of NASB, groupthink manifests when members of the community, eager to align themselves with what appears to be the majority opinion, adopt these slogans without critically examining them. This kind of behavior is reinforced by social media algorithms that prioritize content with high engagement. When popular content creators push these slogans, they get more likes, shares, and comments, which in turn makes these slogans even more widespread. The community starts to parrot the same ideas, not necessarily because they agree with them, but because they see everyone else doing it. Over time, this creates an environment where dissenting opinions are drowned out or dismissed as being out of touch. The influence of content creators. Content creators play a significant role in shaping the opinions of the NASB community. Many have built their channels around the game or Nickelodeon content in general, and as a result, they have a vested interest in maintaining the status quo. Their livelihood depends on the game's ongoing relevance, and so they may consciously or unconsciously push narratives that keep their audience engaged, even if those narratives aren't entirely aligned with reality. This can lead to a form of cognitive dissonance in the community. Cognitive dissonance occurs when a person holds two conflicting beliefs or attitudes. For example, a fan might be frustrated with NASB 2's issues, but at the same time, they might also believe that the game has the potential to improve if given more time. The slogan, "Just let these devs cook," helps reconcile this dissonance by offering a simple solution: just wait and everything will get better. It's a comforting thought that allows fans to ignore or downplay their frustrations. However, this also leads to confirmation bias, where people start to selectively seek out information that supports their pre-existing beliefs while ignoring evidence to the contrary. If a content creator they trust says that the developers need more time and that a third game isn't necessary, they're more likely to accept that viewpoint without question. Over time, this can create an echo chamber where only certain opinions are validated, and critical discussions about the game's actual state are discouraged or even vilified. The delusion of monetization and future-proofing. Another layer to this issue is the monetization strategies employed by developers and publishers. Games like NASB 2 often rely on a steady stream of content updates, DLC packs, and microtransactions to maintain revenue. This has led to a phenomenon I'll call the delusion of future-proofing, the belief that as long as the game keeps getting updated, it will eventually become the game fans want it to be. This delusion is particularly insidious because it plays on the fear of missing out, FOMO. Fans are led to believe that if they continue to support the game, even in its flawed state, they will eventually be rewarded with a better product. Just let these devs cook implies that something better is on the horizon, and all it takes is patience. However, this often overlooks the fact that no amount of post-launch content can fully fix a fundamentally flawed game. Furthermore, this mindset can lead to sunk cost fallacy, The idea that because fans have already invested time, money, and emotional energy into NASB 2, they should continue to support it, even if it's not meeting their expectations. This is why fans might continue to buy DLC packs or defend the game despite its issues, convincing themselves that their investment will eventually pay off. But in reality, this often just prolongs the cycle of disappointment. The community's role in the game's development. There's also the matter of the community's influence on the developers themselves. Developers are often in a difficult position. They want to satisfy their fanbase while also meeting their own creative and financial goals. When a large segment of the community starts echoing the same slogans and demands, it can create pressure for the developers to prioritize certain aspects of the game over others. This can lead to a situation where the development process becomes reactive rather than proactive, with developers scrambling to address the loudest voices rather than focusing on what might be best for the game in the long run. For example, if the community insists that NASB 3 is unnecessary and that NASB 2 just needs more time, developers might delay working on a sequel or addressing more fundamental issues in favor of quick fixes and content updates. This could result in a game that's perpetually stuck in a state of almost there, but never truly fulfilling its potential. The reality check: is waiting really the answer? At some point, it's important for the community to ask itself whether waiting is really the answer. The idea that it's too early for NASB 3 assumes that NASB 2 can eventually become the perfect game if given enough time. But this overlooks the fact that some issues can't be fixed with patches or updates. Sometimes, the best solution is to move on and start fresh with a new game that can learn from the mistakes of its predecessor. Moreover, the belief that a future game is unnecessary because the current one just needs more time is often rooted in fear of change, fear of the unknown, and fear of losing what little investment they've already made. But clinging to a game that isn't working doesn't help anyone in the long run. It's important to recognize when it's time to let go and move on to something new. Breaking the cycle. The NASB community, like many gaming communities, is caught in a cycle of unrealistic expectations, groupthink, and cognitive dissonance. The slogan, "It's too early for NASB 3, just let these devs cook," is emblematic of a deeper issue. Fans are struggling to reconcile their love for the game with its shortcomings, and they're turning to simple, comforting phrases to make sense of their feelings. But this mindset, while understandable, ultimately does more harm than good. To break this cycle, the community needs to foster an environment where critical thinking is encouraged, where different opinions are respected, and where the focus is on constructive feedback rather than blind optimism. Only then can NASB 2, and any future games in the series, truly thrive.